I'm going to do something different for this story, and going to kind of give a little lesson about frog anatomy. I know it's kind of weird, but hear me out. So this story is called The Frog and the Ox, and for anybody uninitiated, the ox is just an older word for a cow. And in this story, again written in the 500s, the frog does something called, let me find it, does something called that the writer calls blowing himself out. The frogs, when a frog croaks, they have a vocal sac like basically on their chin, and it inflates with air. It's connected to their mouth and inflates with air, and then they use that air to make the croaking sound. So here, as we read this story, and you hear about the frog, blowing himself out and stuff, that's what he's talking about. He's taking in more and more air into that vocal sac. So when you hear this, you know what they're talking about. So onto it, the frog and the ox. "Oh, father," said a little frog to the big one sitting by the pool, "I have seen such a terrible monster. It was as big as a mountain, with horns on its head and a long tail, and it had hoofs divided in two." "Tush, child, tush," said the frog. "It was only the farmer's ox. It isn't so big either. He may be a little bit taller than I, but I could easily make myself quite as broad. Just you see." So he blew himself out and blew himself out and blew himself out. "Was he as big as that?" he asked. "Oh, much bigger than that," said the young frog. Again, the old frog blew himself out and asked the young one if the ox was big as that. "Bigger, father, bigger," was the reply. Soon the frog took a deep breath and blew and blew and blew and swelled and swelled and swelled. And then he said, "I am sure the ox is not as big as this." But at that moment, he burst. The moral: self-conceited may lead to self-destruction. Or, in modern language, as soon as you think you're the best, you're setting yourself up to lose.